Today, on how it's made. Western revolver replicas. Arc trainers. Used oil furnaces. And vegetable peelers and pizza cutters. In the American Wild West, the gun ruled, and that gun was usually a 6-shooter revolver. Today, replicas of those revolvers can take you back to Dodge City, and they do, at cowboy shooting competitions. It's a chance to engage in a little old-fashioned gun slinging, for old time's sake. With its 6-shot cylinder and innovative cocking mechanism, the 1873 Colt was carried by the likes of Jesse James. They start these authentic replicas by shaping and machining the gun's frame. A computerized blade carves the cylinder. It cuts slots for the ammunition and notches for rotating the cylinder after a shot is fired. A technician files down rough edges so the parts will fit together perfectly. He then screws the curved grip and the trigger guard to the frame. He assembles the wooden grip casing to the metal back strap and attaches them to the grip. Once he confirms it's a good fit, he removes the casing and writes the gun's serial number inside. He stamps a matching number onto the grip and polishes it and the gun's frame to a glossy finish. He now rolls the model number and other identifying information onto the gun's barrel. To add a bit of flourish, an artist engraves designs copying the artwork of an original Colt. Another worker now dips the parts in hot salts, then in cold water. A reaction occurs that both hardens the parts a bit and tints them. In this case, they turn a bronze color. This is called color case hardening. The grip and trigger guard have been removed from the gun frame for color casing. This makes it easier for the technician to install the cartridge loading gate on the frame. He files down the mechanism for rotating the cylinder to make the dimensions perfect. He then inserts a bushing and a pin in the cylinder's center. He uses that pin to install the cylinder in the gun frame. The pin will also serve as the axis for the cylinder to revolve on. He slides a couple of test slugs into the chambers to confirm the gap between the cylinder and the gun frame is spot on. He then fits the gun barrel to the frame, and, using a special measuring rod, he checks the alignment of the cylinder and barrel. He tightens the barrel to the gun frame, using a stick as a lever. The technician aims the assembled gun and eyeballs the alignment of the barrel to the frame. Once he's certain the configuration is right on target, he installs the gun's hammer and trigger. He pops the cylinder back into the gun frame and inserts the rod for ejecting spent ammunition. He screws a spring into the side of the hammer and cocks it in its 3 different positions to verify that it's in working order. He then reattaches the grip and trigger guard. He assembles a flat spring to the curved grip. This is the main spring. It transfers energy from the trigger to the hammer to cause the revolver to fire. Then it's over to a government testing facility called the Proof House. Behind bulletproof glass, special equipment fires ammunition at 3 times the usual operating pressure. If the gun can handle this, it's deemed safe to operate. After a few more parts have been color cased, this revolver replica is ready for its target market. And that would be history buffs, who are interested in a real blast from the past. ARC trainers can give you a full-body workout. They provide a number of exercise programs to choose from, like strength training, weight loss, and cardio. They monitor such things as heart rate and calories burned. Like any piece of exercise equipment, using one properly is the key to a safe and healthy workout. ARC trainers are made to give you a wide range of incline and resistance levels to let you train as easy or as hard as you like. To start, a tube laser machine cuts and profiles the steel tubing that will make the ARC trainer's side frame. A worker cleans the steel tubes, then runs them through a computer-controlled roll-forming machine. This machine shapes all the steel used to build the ARC trainer's frame. They use a robot to weld all the parts together, because robotic welding is more consistent and accurate than hand welding. The completed frames then get a surface preparation, giving the steel a uniform finish that is now ready for powder painting. Workers paint the frames using an electrostatic paint process. These guns spray electrically charged paint particles that are drawn to the grounded frames in a smooth and even coat. The frames then bake in an oven for 40 minutes to cure the paint. Next come the handlebars. A worker makes them by lubricating a rubber tube and sliding it onto an assembly fixture. He then locks a preformed metal tube in place and lubricates it as well. He turns a hand wheel, which brings the 2 tubes together, forming the hand grip. He completes the assembly by screwing on an end cap. Meanwhile, a worker assembles the control panel by putting on the overlays for the user interface. She then hooks up the printed circuit board that controls the unit. She closes the housing, but leaves the connectors exposed for connection to the mainframe later. A worker then attaches a steel support fixture onto the frame. Next comes this drive wheel assembly, which he bolts onto the support fixture. He puts a drive belt around a pulley that provides various resistance levels for the user and rolls the belt onto the drive wheel. He then uses a pneumatic tool to tighten down the pulley, which stretches the drive belt and sets it to the appropriate tension. Next, he attaches the computer board that controls the various fitness programs. A worker then installs the leg bars onto the ARC trainer's frame and attaches a foot pedal onto each leg bar. He installs linkage bars onto the drive wheel assembly. Then he aligns the drive wheel and puts on the molded front housing, followed by the protective side covers. He connects a linkage bar that extends from each leg bar to the drive wheel, then connects one linkage bar to each arm handle. He makes sure all the linkage bars are working properly. Finally, he tests the free-floating foot pedals and the dual-action arms, as well as all the other functions and features. These ARC trainers are high-tech exercise machines. Some models even come with a TV. Used oil furnaces generate heat by burning used oil without having to refine it. These furnaces are found in automobile shops, maintenance facilities, and construction sites. Transport fleets and trucking companies also use them to turn the used oil they produce into heat for their facilities. It takes a special furnace to burn used oil. Used oil is thick and dirty compared to residential fuel oil and must be turned into a fine mist to burn properly. It all starts with a computer-controlled laser making what's called the front and rear flue plates out of steel. The plates for this hot air furnace are made of stainless or hot-rolled steel, depending on the size of the unit. A worker then makes what's known as the heat exchanger by joining the flue plates together with steel tubes called flue tubes. This device is called a Swager machine. It expands just the ends of the flue tubes, bonding them in place with the flue plate. Next, he assembles the section in which hot gases collect after passing through the flue tubes on their way out of the furnace. He then sets a combustion chamber on the top of the heat exchanger and welds them together. He completes the heat exchanger assembly by welding on a base equipped with 2 air deflector plates. These square plates help direct the ambient air as it enters the furnace and circulates around the combustion chamber. Meanwhile, an electrostatic powder coating machine paints the outside covers of the furnace. Next, they put on inner air deflectors, then assemble the cabinet. They bolt everything in place, then put on an insulated door. Now he hooks up a blower control box. This electrical box regulates when hot air is sent into a room. A worker then connects a tester box to the temperature controls that measure the temperature inside the furnace. He runs a number of tests to confirm that both the blower and the burner will turn on or off when they're supposed to. He verifies the operation of the door that allows for cleaning out ash residue. A technician installs a 100-watt pencil heater inside a brass nozzle adapter, then threads a thermostat into it. This nozzle adapter heats the oil and turns it into a fine mist so it burns properly. She then attaches assembly fittings to the adapter so she can later mount it inside a burner housing. She checks these fittings with a leveling tool to ensure the adapter will go on straight inside the housing. She also installs an assembly that controls oil flow, temperature, and air pressure. Then she mounts the nozzle adapter and covers it with a retention head that shapes the flame for optimal heat, completing the burner assembly. A worker then hooks up the used oil and compressed air lines to begin testing the burner. He turns on the oil, ignites the burner, and looks through an observation port to verify the burner is working properly. A closer look shows the flame is at the right intensity for optimal heat with minimal emissions. The furnace is now ready to turn used oil into useful heat. Top-of-the-line pizza cutters and vegetable peelers can be a pleasure to use. They make preparing and serving your favorite foods quicker and easier, and are ergonomically designed for style and comfort. They're also easy to clean and guaranteed for life. Vegetable peelers and pizza cutters work like a charm, making straight cuts without damaging your pans or your fingers. Quality pizza cutters start with cutlery-grade, high-carbon stainless steel, from which a stamping press punches the cutter blades. The blades go through a 3-step heat treating process. First, they enter a high-temperature furnace. Then it's into a deep freezer to maximize hardness and corrosion resistance. Finally, they go into a tempering oven, which increases the durability of the metal. A polishing machine with 2 buffing heads then polishes both sides of the blade, giving it a protective and cosmetic finish. A worker then loads the blade onto a bevel grinding machine that thins out the edge of the blade. It grinds a beveled edge that is thin enough to cut pizza, but not sharp enough to cut your finger or damage a cutting surface. A worker puts a steel bar insert into an injection molding machine that makes the soft polymer handle. He then cools it down in water. He puts the handles on an extraction fixture, which removes the inserts, making the handles ready for assembly, along with all the other molded parts. He then attaches what's called a swing arm to the blade holder, and he secures it in place with a screw. He dips the tip of the blade holder into lubricant and uses a pneumatic assembly fixture to insert the blade holder into the handle permanently. Using the swing arm, he snap fits the blade onto the blade holder and hides the swing arm screw with a cover cap. Finally, he ensures the blade rolls properly and safely so it will cut through pizza with ease. The finest vegetable peelers also do their job quickly and effectively. They also start with cutlery-grade stainless steel blades that undergo tempering to ensure the metal is durable and corrosion resistant. After cleaning and polishing, the blades are dried in a vibrating medium of ground corn cob, then removed from the tub by a magnet. The blades are now ready for sharpening. A worker mounts the peeler blades on a computer-controlled edge grinding machine. The grinder sharpens one edge of each blade at a time. Once both sides of the peeler blades are fully sharpened, they're ready for assembly. Meanwhile, an injection molding machine makes the blade holders. A worker dips each blade holder into lubricant and inserts it into the molded soft polymer handle, joining them together permanently. Finally, he attaches the blade by deflecting the holder just enough to insert the tip of the blade into a tiny hole. These top-quality vegetable peelers are sold individually or in combination with other kitchen utensils, like pizza cutters. And they sure are handy in the kitchen, even if you're not.